Now this is a very overdue video, and I very much apologize for how long this has taken. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't know how to do this video. I didn't know how to put it together. I didn't know how to demonstrate how I make a video or a cinematic on Need for Speed Payback to you guys in a proper fashion. I didn't want to just show you outright how I make a video from start to finish, because I feel like that will give you too much to copy. Now, bear with me before I sound like a big-headed buffoon, but what I mean by that is I don't want you guys to copy, because I respect you guys as much as I respect myself. My style is my style, and you will find your own style, and from these basic tips and these fundamental tips that I'm going to give you, or fundamental instructions, you're going to develop your own style. When I started YouTube 3 years ago, there were definitely creators that I looked up to and took inspiration from, and I tried to make my videos like them, but it really didn't work. I just didn't feel confident in what I was producing, and it didn't really feel like my own product. So what I'm trying to do is stop you guys, or anyone who's watching, or anyone who wants to learn, just stop you from copying a video frame by frame, and instead taking the tips that you're getting from this video and develop them into your own. And to be honest with you, I've been trying to do this video for weeks now. Honestly, I produced 2 before this, and I just wasn't happy with them. I tried to do it where I would just show you how I make a video from start to finish, and I also tried to do like one with just text, but I feel like this way is going to be a lot more natural and organic, and kind of give you guys an insight of how I do it on my computer. Now, what I will say is that it may be annoying, and it probably will be annoying, because everyone's computer is different. At this point, my computer is kind of high end, and it's taken me years to get it to this point. But when I started trying to make videos on Need for Speed Payback on a PC, it was stressful. It was horrible. I hated it. My computer was just not good enough. I did manage to get videos out, but I could never push anything out that I was actually fully proud of. And I look back at those videos and I don't really see them as bad, but you will find yourself not really being 100% satisfied until you get your computer to a point where you can push out the best you can. And what I will say is, don't make yourself feel like your shit isn't good just because you haven't got a high-end computer. That's not the case. You will beat yourself up because it's your work, and everyone does it. Everyone beats themselves up about their own work. So what I will say is, if at the end of this you still can't produce a video that you're happy with, don't worry. Practice, persistence, and time will help you with that. Obviously build your computer up over a long time if you have to. If you can do it instantly and you got that dollar, do what you got to do. But I just want to disclaim, and I know I'm rambling on here, but I just want to disclaim you guys, don't think you're going to come out of this with a video that you're going to be fully satisfied with. That's not what will happen. Now, I've rambled on for way too long. I think it's time to get into some video making. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download CineTools from the CineTools website, which will be linked below. It's actually up. I believe people for some reason can't access this website. And if you can't, I actually don't know what's wrong, because I can access this site fine. It will be linked below, but if there are any problems, obviously we'll further look into it when the video is up. But for now, you're going to want to go onto this site, and hopefully it works for you. And you're going to want to go down to Need for Speed Payback, obviously. Click it, and I'll just do it to demonstrate to you guys. It will come here, and obviously if you've got a WinZip or any unzip program installed, it will open in that, and then you're going to want to basically unzip it into a folder. Now, I'm not going to do it again. I've already got it on my computer, so make sure you just make a folder anywhere. It doesn't matter where on your computer. I do it on my desktop because it's easy to access. So once you are in the game and you're loaded in, you're going to want to Alt Tab out of the game. And then you're going to want to go to the CineTools folder and open up CineTools. Now, one thing I will say is make sure that you've got CineTools set to administrator only. Same with the actual game. I don't know if this applies to everyone, and it probably doesn't, but for me, I had issues with loading Cine Tools, and one of the main reasons was I couldn't open it because I didn't have administrator rights, or the computer was just basically telling me fuck off, you're not an administrator. So make sure you've got both set to administrator, or right click and open as administrator, and that will be fine for you. I will say also, sometimes it does take a while for the tools to load. It just depends on your computer, it depends on what's going on, it depends on how many things you've got running in the background. But for me, everything's going fine. As soon as this command tab opens, or this window opens, and everything seems fine and whatever, just go into the game again, and it will load up and you have Cine Tools within the window. And what's great and handy about this one is that the tool window is actually within the game. On 2015, the window isn't a part of the game, it's outside, so you've got Alt Tab every time you want to change something. It's a lot more work, but this, it loads in and it's kind of great. So there are quite a few things to go over, and I'm going to go over them as details up. So there's quite a few things to go over. I'm going to try and go over them as swiftly as I can and make it as simple as I can for you guys to understand. You've got 3 tabs at the top. So we've got camera, visuals, and MISC. MISC is important because it's where lights are, and lights play a huge role in my videos. I can't really make one without them because it just looks like horse shit. There are no reflections really on this game. The reflections look like dog shit. So the lights kind of help that and give it kind of fake reflections, if anything. Here you've got your focal distance, so your max blur, near length, near start. I will tinker around with these things so you can see what they actually do. It took me a while to actually work out how this works, and shit, so don't worry if it's confusing. You get used to it, you start realizing what things do and what bar does what. And then you've got apply LOD fixes. I don't know what this does. Apparently it makes textures better. If you can see in the background over there, the textures on some things are being improved. I think that's what it's doing. It's not really that noticeable, but it kind of adds things like little rails and shit. I don't know, I click it anyway, but it doesn't really do much, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Then we've got the main tab where you've got your movement speed, your rotation speed, your roll speed, your field of view speed, and your input, disabling your input. So if you wanted your car to move, so if you wanted to control your car while your camera was at an angle, or you were trying to get a shot of it, then you would disable that and you could use your controller. And I will add, using your controller is kind of needed for this. I don't believe you can do it with a keyboard only. So I imagine everyone who plays racing games on computers has a controller. You're going to need a controller, so just make sure you've got one of those on hand. Obviously, your field of view, this doesn't really matter because you can use your controller to control the field of view, and I'll tell you the controls on a controller briefly when we start actually getting shots and trying to get some shots for you guys. Then we've got lock to player, which allows you to lock the camera to your car. So if you want to get a shot when you're driving, and you want the camera to follow you, then you click that and it will do that. Shake camera, which kind of shakes the camera, which I can kind of show you here. It kind of gives the camera a shake. I don't really like it, if I'm honest. I don't really use camera shake in my videos anyway. I've only recently tried to give it a go, but I don't know, I wouldn't really suggest this unless you were trying to get a shot where maybe the camera gets hit over or knocked over. I don't know, you could use your imagination. I guess these things are here for you to try new things, so whatever, you can do what you want. And just before I forget, a bit of a rundown on the lights tab here, which will open up if you click lights on the last MISC tab. You've got spotlight, spear light, tube light, and rectangular. I've used a mixture of all of them, but I mainly use tube light and rectangular. I will show you how I use tube lights in the dark bit of the garage, which everyone seems to want to know to do or how to do. And then I'll show you how I use rectangular outside, because I feel like rectangular is better outside. And then you've got all the intensity and we'll get to everything in this video, so don't worry about it. So I found a spot that I like. I've got my car set up the way I want it. What we're going to do now is we're going to run through what some of the buttons on the keyboard do and what your controller buttons and actions do. So the biggies are getting this shit off your screen, so getting the HUD off your screen and getting the Cine Tools tabs off your screen so you can get shots. So to get rid of the Cine Tools tabs, you're going to want to press F1 and that will get rid of them. and to get rid of the HUD, you're going to want to press home, and that'll get rid of those. And if you want to get them back on, again, home, and then F1 home. If you want to disable cinematic tools without going into this tab and you want to just quickly drive away or drive to somewhere, you're going to want to press the insert button, and that will be INS on some people's keyboards. So click that and it will basically allow you to drive around again. And click it, will put you back into the cinematic mode. To move around are going to be your analogs, which is, I think everyone will get the hang of that. To go up and down, up is the right trigger and down is the left trigger. And then to zoom in and out or make your field of view shorter or longer, you're going to want to click your analogs in. And that will do in and out. And then lastly, rotation is your bumpers, so right and then left. Pretty simple. And I think everyone will get the hang of it. Just mess around with your controller and you'll get the hang of it. It's not that hard. So now I've kind of run you through the basics of what CineTools does and how to do it. Hopefully I've done it well enough for you guys to follow. Hopefully I've not just rambled on and you're not catching any of it. So what you're going to do now is you're going to kind of just experiment. I don't really plan anything. I just do anything on the fly. And I feel like my best work comes from doing that. So what I do initially is I set the time of day. I've already done that. I want it at night time and it doesn't really affect this shot anyway because we're under a bridge. So lighting is kind of static under here. But then what I'll go on to do is I will go on to add lighting. So while I am in the camera, so I'll click disable and I'll be in the camera mode. I will go on to lights, open up the lights tab, and I'll start adding lights. Now again, remember, this doesn't have to be step by step. You don't have to follow me step by step. I am going to do what I do normally, and hopefully you guys can kind of take away from it and do it in your own way. So I'm going to add some tube lights to this scene. They're going to look a bit shit at first, but bear with me, you'll see what I will do shortly after I place them. So what you can do in these tools, which is really cool, is you can basically make the lights look like they're a physical thing. And I think that's really cool. I'm not going to use them outside in this example because I'm going to use them inside when I show you the garage part of this tutorial or video or whatever. But you can make the light look as if it's there. I'm going to make them invisible. So it's just a light source that is coming from absolutely nowhere, but that doesn't matter. So as you can see, it looks pretty bleached out and really bright, and I don't like that. And you probably don't like that, and it probably doesn't look like that in my videos. So what I'm going to do to get rid of that is I'm going to turn down the intensity quite a lot. I just do 100, and if I need it brighter, then I just turn it up a little bit, and then I'll do the same with the width as well. The width is weird. I do about 30 because if I show you guys how long that is really goddamn long, but I want the light source to kind of stretch all over the car, so I make it quite long anyway. And then if I don't want the white mark to be so intense on my car like that, what I'll do is I'll go into here and turn it down slightly and make it look not that fucking bright. And then I'll just repeat that with the other lights, so I've got a consistent row of lights above the car. So once you've done that, you should kind of have this, and you know, it does look unnatural. It looks really kind of silly in some ways, but I just prefer this to the bland shit that we get normally. And without these light tools, it kind of just looks dead to me. This adds kind of, it just looks cool, I guess. I don't really have an explanation of why I do this. It just looks cool. And if I'm feeling a bit saucy, I'll add some to the sides of the car also. Just to kind of, I don't know, just gives a cool effect, I guess. I guess that's what it is. It's an effect, okay? I don't really know what it is. It's an effect. I like the way it looks. Now at this point, I'm kind of happy with the way that looks. I kind of like the way the car looks in this setting. It looks really moody. I like it. So what I'll do is I will get a rectangle just to see if I can improve the lighting a little bit, improve the reflections a bit. And what I will say about the rectangles is that they are very goddamn bright. You kind of really need to be careful with where you're placing them and how you're placing them. Like I said, a lot of this is just trial and error and experimenting on what you can do. I will not sit here and tell you that you're going to come out with perfect results straight away, but you will get there eventually. And at this point, I am happy with the way the car looks. I'm happy with the shots I can potentially get. I can see shots I can potentially get. I just kind of analyze and look around the car and see what I can and what I can't get. if you go around the car, excuse me, if you go around the car and you see, you know, blemishes and kind of like bleached out lighting like that, and the other side of the car just isn't bright, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to turn those down, or actually just remove them or put them onto this side with this handy button here which says place at camera. If you go onto this and press this, it will place the camera, it will place the light here. So that's kind of a handy thing to have. So if you basically, it's basically kind of common sense. If you want a light in a certain place, then move it. A lot of light isn't going to look right at certain angles. I've kind of set the lighting up to look good at this angle, so it's trial and error and using your common sense. And hopefully this video is going to help you with certain issues you may have faced or you may be facing while doing this. But now we're going to go on to the focal distance and the depth of field. Now your depth of field might not look like this if you haven't got your computer settings in the game. If you haven't got the graphic settings, sorry, set to ultra, it will not look like this. The bokeh and stuff, it requires ultra quality for some reason. I guess it requires a lot more memory or whatever. I'm not very that advanced in terms of computers. I just know that your shit is not going to look like this if you don't have it on ultra. If your computer can't handle it, don't fight it. You're gonna get really shitty frames. I've done it, I'm guilty. Some of my videos that have been uploaded have been at this quality, but the frames are trash because my computer just can't handle it. If you don't mind frame drops, that's fine, but your depth of field might look a little less, it just won't look like this. You'll know exactly what I mean if you are doing it alongside me doing this video. So don't worry about it. It will still give the video and a bit of depth, and it will still give your shots depth. So I would advise you still use it even if it doesn't look like this. That's a lot of rambling. I'm done now. So what I do initially is I go on to link, near and far, and I just take them off. I untick that because I want my close depth of field and my far depth of field to move alone. So I untick that. I go on to max blur and I take it down to about 3. It depends what kind of shot you want. If you want a really close-up shot, I wouldn't really advise that in this game because the models are a bit shitty. If you want a real close-up shot, then you're going to want kind of high, I would say. And also doing this requires your computer to be quite powerful too. If your computer isn't that high end, I wouldn't suggest putting it up that high because it might freeze your cine tools, and that's frustrating. So I'm gonna go 2 actually. A bit lower because I kind of want to get some shots for you guys to show you guys how I get my shots. Once you've done that and you can see or you know what shot you want to get, in this case I kind of want to get a shot like this, where I'm kind of just going around the car. You want to kind of make your depth of field match that so your car's not blurry. So I want the background to be blurry and I want the floor in front of me to be blurry also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the focal distance and I'm going to take it back a notch. And what that will do is it will change where the focus is. Right now it's on the car, so that's great. And just mess around with the focal distance until you can see your subject is actually in focus. Next we're going to go to near start, and that's going to basically change where where the blurriness is on the floor in front of me. So if I put it up like this, you can see that the focal start is completely gone. There's no blur on the floor anymore. But if I turn that down and get it closer to the camera, then it's there now. And then the near length will basically stretch the blurriness or the depth of field. So the more you do it, the more long the blur will be. So for example, if I make it really small, you can see the line there is really sharp. That's because the length is really short. And the longer I make it, the smoother the blur is basically. So I have it at about 7 when I'm getting these shots. The same thing applies for the far focal distance. If I put, let's say, 100 in here, you see it's gone all the way back to where I've sent it. And then if I go 1, then it'll come back close. For this, I'm going to keep it at 1 because that seems pretty nice. I like the distance. I'm going to make the length a bit longer so the blur is as smooth as possible. That's it. I don't know how to explain it anymore. I'm not going any deeper. Focal distance is annoying and you kind of just have to learn it yourself. Now we're going to move on to basically the important part of getting the shots. And that is going to be adding your nodes to the world, which will basically put cameras into the world and you can get shots. Now the last kind of step of basically getting a shot, or getting your shots in a video, is you're going to want to add your nodes. Now I put my node speed to 0.70. Something like 3 or anything higher than 1, to be fair, is pretty goddamn quick for some reason. So your 0 point numbers, so 0.10, 0.20, 0.30, 0.40, 50, 60, 70, etc, etc, they're going to be the numbers that you want to choose if you want to get similar shots to what I do. I don't really go over 1 when it comes to a shot, so I'm going to say at 0.70, sorry, and then I'm going to now show you how to place a node. So to place a node in this game, and I hope it's the same for everyone, you want to press F and it will place a node. So that camera is now there, and then you basically go to where you want that camera to meet. I want that camera to come all the way over here like this, and then I'll press F again, which will place another node. And if you can see, it's now added a bit of a track, and when you press P for play, it will play that. So if we go ahead and do that, so if we press P, it will now basically do the shot you've wanted, and then you press P to get out of it also. And it's pretty simple, it's not that hard. If you wanted to add another point, so if you wanted, for some reason you wanted it to go, let's say if you wanted to then go up like this, I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but then you can press F again and it will add another node. And you can, I don't know how crazy you can go with these nodes, I only really do 2 at a time, but you can add, I think it's unlimited. I'm pretty sure that would break your computer, but you can try, see what your limit is, and then you press P and it will go, it will do it for you. I'm going to show you guys what that actually looks like, so I'm going to make it quicker. So let's say 3, and it will show you how, what it will do. It's pretty cool. It's really smooth, there's no choppiness. I have no issues with it. And that's basically it for this part of the tutorial. This video is going to be extremely long. I've just realized, I've looked at my recording, I am now 47 minutes in, and this is basically the core element of how I make a video. So that's it for this part of the tutorial. For the next part, I'm going to show you guys how to basically do the light videos I do in the dark space in the garage. So yeah, we're gonna get right into that now. So now for the last bit of this video and the final piece of the tutorial or whatever, I'm going to show you how to get, or where I take videos such as the colors and various other videos where I get, where I go to take those, which is in the dark space as people call it. I'm surprised people don't know where this is, but it's here. When you go into the garage, you click through, you make sure your car is actually in this position. You click through to the warehouse, you replace whatever car you have in the warehouse, it doesn't really matter, and then you go back into the warehouse again and you hover over your car, the desired car you want to use within your video, or what if you're taking pictures or whatever you're going to do, and then you want to press insert and home, which I showed you how to do outside, which basically takes away the HUD and puts you into the cinematic mode. So as you can probably notice, the textures are a lot better inside, and that is true. For some reason, the textures and the models are a lot better inside the garage, obviously to prevent lag and to make performance better. I don't know, some bullshit, but basically the car looks better when you are inside of this space. Now how I add lights is pretty simple. I basically open up the lights tab here. So basically, if you haven't done that before, you go into here, into MISC, and then you click lights and the tab will come up just as I showed you outside, but I'm showing you again just to re-jog your memory. So what I do is I kind of imagine myself as the light. So I imagine my camera is the light, or where the light is going to be, and then I put the camera at an angle, which will change the angle of the tube light that you're going to choose. And remember, like I said before, this is all up to your imagination. I'm just going to use tube lights in this situation because I like the way they look. I think they're cool. I have overused them, but whatever, I think they look sick. So basically, this is how I start. I will press immersive shape, which will show the shape. I will remove the markers because I don't want that there. And as you can see, it's a little chode at the moment. I want it to be long and thin. So I'm going to go onto intensity and turn that down quite a lot because it's quite goddamn bright. If you want it really bright, then you can have it really bright. It can look cool in some situations, but usually I have it quite dim. I think about here. And then I will make the width like probably like 20, or maybe that's too long. Yep, 20 is way too long. I don't want it at 20. I want it at about, let's say 12. 12 should be, no, 12 is way too long also. So let's say 8. 8 is 8 too long. 8 will do. And then if I want it in a certain color, I'll go over to this box here and change the color. You can also change the intensity of the color here, I believe, and that'll make it super duper bright and super duper. I wouldn't suggest you do this. That looks pretty insane. I wouldn't suggest you do that. It might freeze your computer, so just don't do that. I'm gonna put it at let's put it at 11. 11 looks pretty cool. Obviously the more you put, the more intense the lighting will be. And if I want another one to be in this, I would do the exact same. Usually I like the lights to be similar, so I'll place another tube light, and then I will immerse the shape as I have done with the other one, and then I will make it super duper long, as well as change it to red, put it at 11 like the other one, and yeah, that's really about it. I mean, that's really long, but really and truly it's just that. Everything I showed you outside applies in here, and yeah, it's nothing too hard. I feel like a lot of people do think this is rocket science. It's not. It just takes kind of your creativity and just how you process design and whatever. It isn't that difficult, and honestly you'll get the hang of it. Hopefully this video has helped you out, and hopefully it does help you out, and hopefully I haven't skimmed anything. And if there's anything you want to know, anything you're not sure about, make sure you put them in the comments below, because I will get to you and I will answer you, because I know this is such a requested video, probably one of the most requested videos I've ever had. And that is honestly it for this video. Hopefully you guys take something away from this, and if you were hoping that you would see a full-fledged how I make a video from start to finish, I'm kind of sorry, but I don't really want to show that. I don't really want to give you guys a template. I want you to take away the tips and tools that I've given you and just kind of make it your own, because honestly you'll thank me later. It will be a great feeling, and it honestly is the best feeling when you make something off of your own head or out of your own head. So make sure you guys do, be as creative as you possibly can, because that's what this is about, and you'll feel great about yourself. Hopefully this has been a decent tutorial. I'm not the best teacher, but I did try my best, and hopefully you guys take away and you can create your own shit. And make sure you tag me and show me what you guys create with it, because I'd be very interested. In the info tab you will see more videos you can watch, and my Patreon, if you want to help the channel out. Thank you guys for being so supportive. The channel has just breached 14k, which is great and amazing. Every milestone I hit is insane, so this one is nonetheless. And thank you so much for watching. I'm going to stop blabbering now and I will leave you be. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.